so from now. And then on Monday, he's going to be meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Finland. That highly anticipated meeting has been debated across the board, with some wondering if it's the right move for the president. But a new Fox News poll shows that 59% believe this meeting between Trump and Putin is a good idea. And how's that meeting going to go? Well, the same polls show 31% believe Putin is going to walk away with a better deal. Here now to weigh in is Luke Coffey, Director of Foreign Policy at the Heritage Foundation. Luke, good morning.
Good morning, Cheryl.
What do you make? Americans seem to want to see this meeting happen, but they're not optimistic about its outcome. Is this a good idea?
Well, I think the mood of the American public is correct on this. It's important that heads of state around the world can meet. We were meeting with the leaders of the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War, and U.S. and Russian relations are very low right now, but there's no reason why the two leaders shouldn't meet. But the important thing for President Trump is to go into this meeting with his eyes open. Since coming to power in 1999, there's nothing that suggests that President Putin can be a reliable partner for the United States. And in fact, he's tried to undermine our interests and the interests of many of our allies at every turn. So we have to go in with our eyes open.
You know, it's interesting because there's also in this Fox News poll, 53% say that President Trump has not been tough enough on Russia. And there's a fascinating op-ed today from the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal talking about what Putin wants to get out of this. And it's things like Syria. He wants President Trump, according to the editorial board, to say that Russia did not meddle in the 2016 election. It goes on and on. Who's got the disadvantage here?
Well, it's interesting because many of President Trump's critics suggest that he's going to go into this meeting and just give away everything. And we know this isn't his style. He fancies himself as being the great deal maker, and he's not going to sit around a negotiating table and give away Syria, give away Crimea, and give away, NATO enlargement and these sort of things. I think it's going to be a hard-headed, hopefully a pragmatic meeting in Helsinki that will lead to opening of a dialogue, but a dialogue based on reality. And that reality is that Russia does pose a threat to U.S. interests. Yeah. Russia is adversarial and perhaps an adversary in some cases. And I think the poll showing most Americans recognizing this also demonstrates that the U.S. has its finger on the pulse on this issue.
Well, and they also point out that obviously he wants sanctions against Russia lifted. We'll see what the president does. Real quick, I want to pivot back to what's going on today. We're expecting to see President Trump and UK Prime Minister Theresa May face-to-face after he blasted her in this interview in The Sun, saying that any trade deal is going to be off the table if she continues on her path for Brexit, basically sticking with the EU. What do you expect to see today from these two leaders?
Well, there are a few things to take from that explosive interview. Firstly, President Trump, his comments would resonate very well with much of Theresa May's party. The Conservative Party is very divided in the UK on this issue, on Theresa May's plan to withdraw out of the European Union. They don't think that she's going far enough. So what he said will be welcomed by many parts of the UK.
Right.
The second thing to remember is that President Trump has been an advocate for Brexit for a long time, and he would like to see, I think he sees it's in America's interest that this Brexit is done well.
Yeah, Luke, that's very true. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate your time, your perspective. I want to let our viewers know you want to tune in early to FBN AM on Monday. We're going to have special live coverage of the Trump-Putin summit. We're going to come up live for you at